Hello everyone, this is Will from Apple One-to-One. Thank you so much for joining us for another video here on the Apple One-to-One channel. You never know what you're going to get on this channel as we switch stuff up all the time. But today we're going to go back into numbers and talk about making a travel expense report that'll be very helpful for you if you own a business or you need to track your miles. This will be an easy way for you to have all those numbers here in one document. We appreciate you guys subscribing and liking our channel. We really do appreciate all the feedback we get from these videos. If you are looking for a beginner of the world of numbers, we're not going to dive into that here. We're going to kind of have things already kind of made up for you. But you can go to the top right corner, you can subscribe, and you can see our other videos of numbers, our playlist, and one of our very beginning videos. Good thing is about numbers that nothing has much changed since those videos have been made, so it's great that you can learn those simple skills. What I'm going to do is have this available to you inside of our description. That way you can view this on on the cloud website, so you'll see a version of this directly on our cloud website, and then you can download a copy so you can have a version of it for yourself. So I'm going to go to a travel expense report that I've already created here before. So this is from 2019, and what it does is shows you all the different locations that I went to, and then the miles, the mile reimbursement, the tolls, and then the total. I also included the exchange rate in here, but I realized it's not necessary for my travel. But if you're like flying overseas a lot or moving around a lot, maybe you might need a currency exchange rate. For my example, though, for our users, I don't think a lot of people are going to need that. But there are tutorials or things out there that can explain the currency rates, but I'm not going to include that in here. We're going to go to a expense report here. And then, of course, in this document, you can go up to the top right corner. You go to the top right corner of your sheet, and then you can make a duplicate of it. That way, every year, you can have it ready to go and just have to fill in new data. So how is this created? Well, one, I put my name here, my name of my company, the year, and then I have the per mile reimbursement. Now that could change every year. This is from the IRS. The IRS determines what that is. So back in 2019, when I first started making this document, it was 13 cents. As you can see, it's jumped up a lot since 2025, and now it's 70 cents. The formula that's here is, as you can see, it's highlighted in blue, is it's just taking the number that's here and putting it here. I just like having that there, not necessarily important. You could just have it down here. The only reason why I put this total up here is because you have a bunch of other numbers down here in the footer. Let's talk about how this is created. So mile reimbursement, I'm going to just double click on the formula, which is C13 times F $5. Well, what does that $5 mean? That actually has importance. If I open this up, I am preserving the row so that always stays as the number. If I didn't do that preserve row, and I went and I did let me, hold on a second, I apologize. If I didn't do that, then I drag this down, what it's doing is it's going down and it's selecting the row. You see, it's going down the next row and it's automatically grabbing that, which is incorrect. I don't want it to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the double click, and under F5, I'm going to preserve the row. So that way it stays there. And then if I click the check mark and I drag it down, there you go. Now everything is correct. It is always grabbing that particular row item in there. If I did column, it would have messed that up as well. Column would not have worked in this situation. It has to be a row, so that's why I did that. Let's talk about tolls. So tolls are just a regular number. Everything's a $sign formula. And then the total right here is just adding these two together. So I'm going to drag that down, and there we go. And now it adds, see, it drags down to the next row. So now let's create our actual expense report. I'm going to take some of my venues that I go to, and then I'm going to do location 1. I do have a location 2 here, because if you're going to different locations, it's good to just document you're going to more than one location. Do you have to do that? That's up to you. Miles wise, so I'm going to put down the miles going there and the miles going back. So in this case, I'm going to put down 25 miles and then click away. And now it took and made the formula. 1750, 25 miles times 70 cents equals 1750, and that is the total. There are no tolls at this location, so I'm going to go on to the next row. Another one of my favorite venues is Crystal Point. I'm going to put down that this is going to be 23 miles, and then I get the same formula. It's added here. Let's now do one with the tolls. So I go to LBI Hotel. I have to go down the Garden State Parkway. This one's a little further away, so going there, coming back, 16 miles. That's $42. And then I'm going to add $4 in tolls. So now the total has now been added here. You can see on the bottom, you can see the miles. The formulas that I've already have down here are the totals. This is a footer row, by the way. So just so you know that. So I have the amount of miles I did, the miles reimbursement that I did, the tolls, and then the total. Of course, you could easily that's a very easy formula. We talk about this in other numbers videos, how we do it. Again, we're not going to dive deeper into that. But you always want to make sure you have a header row, and you're going to see why in a second. So now we have our miles reimbursement, our tolls, and our total, and the total has been put up here. What I'm going to do now is, obviously, there could be more locations I'm going to, so I could just hit the arrow on the last row before the footer, or I could do it anywhere, really. It doesn't make a difference where I do it. Add a row below. And as you can see, the formula has already moved down. I understand that I need that formula because again, it's important to have a total here in the footer. That is a great way for it to automatically put a formula in for you, so you don't have to do it yourself. And then again, you can do the same thing, add a row below. And there we go. So what you want to do is you want to fill in the location, which, by the way, if I'm going to two locations, what I do typically in Apple Maps is I just remember the one number and then I just add it in my head, the other number, and then I just put it together. That's just the easiest way to do it. I mean, you have a calculator built into your Spotlight here. So if I did 25 and then I said plus and then 45, it gives me a number. So it's very easy for me to just open Spotlight and just manually add that in there. So we have our miles, mile reimbursement, and our total, and then that's how the formula is created. Also, just a point out, again, under the cell section, I put borders here just to make things stand out a little more. You could put these anywhere. There's no rules on this. I just put some border styles to make it look a little bit cleaner on here. Again, the black here was just simply just to have a color fill, a separation between the travel expense report title and the rest of the items here. So you can color code this any way you want. This is just the way I did it. It's very simple. I don't think it's anything crazy. Please leave any comments or any kind of questions down there on the bottom. I appreciate you guys coming to take a look at this video, and I love every single one of you.